Janë këtu me mua dy amerikanë. Dy amerikanë që vinë nga bota e filmit dhe që në botën e filmit kanë pasur goxha sukses për të mos qenë ne kurioz se çfarë ka sjellë në Shqipëri. Welcome. I just introduced you as two Americans that have been pretty successful in the world of movies. And to define success, I simply said that as successful as to make us wonder what the hell they are trying to find in Albania. Okay. So Pamela, right? Or Pamela?
Either one. I respond to both. I like the way you said it the first time.
Pamela,
That's pretty.
It's more Albanian.
Yes.
So welcome. You are a scriptwriter, right?
Yes, that's one of the many hats. So.
Yeah. Okay.
But the hat, yes.
You can tell me about other hats, but let's say the hat of your uniform is scriptwriter. Then
yes.
For parties, for balls, for running, for swimming, you have other hats. You are the force behind Mindhunter.
I am one of the writers.
One of the writers
on Mindhunter. So there were three of us.
Okay. So you are one of the
season 2.
One of
yes.
the three writers. And Laë and Order also?
Laë and Order, I was an assistant director.
Assistant director.
So,
okay. Mindhunter then. Let's stick with that and many other things. And Philip is, it's fair to say, an addict of the black box and as many images as possible with no sun inside.
That's right. Yeah.
So you have got to know me and I've got to know you because of this project, The Catalyst, which is a project about training and about growing up talents in the world of, let's say, visual production, a movie and whatever else around it. Now, this is a long introduction, but it's done, I believe. Because it's always one, and then the second follows. So who among you two was the one to say Albania? You?
Yes.
You? No.
She came first.
I came first.
Okay, so what the hell?
It's fascinating how often we've had that question.
Yes.
Brought you to Albania first?
Curiosity, I think, was part of it. I didn't know, growing up in America, they don't teach you much about the Balkans in general.
In general, they don't teach you much about the world.
This is also very true. But I was curious. I had come for a writer's residency in Ireland and France and was looking at a map.
What year?
That would be 2022, 2023. And I was looking at a map of Europe and saw where Albania was positioned. And it made me very curious because that is a centrally powerful location for trade routes historically. And so I did a little bit of research and it looked interesting, and I was curious, and so I came here in August of 2023, and within 2 months, it felt like there was something going on here in the country and I didn't know what it was yet, but it was like there's something going on. So I went back to the United States to...
So you stayed 2 months here?
I stayed for 2 months. I knew I was staying for a year. I brought my cat with me. I moved to Albania. But I went back for a residency at the Lake Placid Film Festival and ran into Philip. I've known Philip for
10 years.
10 years, 12 years, something like that. And hey, how are you doing? What are you doing? I'm in Albania. Albania? What the heck are you doing in Albania? And I said, you should come. There's something going on there. I don't know what it is, but you should come. And Philip, being Philip, was like, well, it's my birthday on Wednesday. I guess I'll come to Albania.
That was it.
Like that.
Like that. Yeah.
And then you came back. You came together.
I came to visit in November 23 and spent the first couple of weeks just walking around the city, every corner I could find, meeting as many people as I could, talking. Tirana, yeah. And I had our organization and kind of my mission since I've been in the industry for 20 years or so. We've wanted to find a place where we can build a home for artists and visual storytelling, film, TV. Everybody thinks LA, New York, and those are definitely where the industry, places where the industry is located. But I was always interested in places that were more outside of the normal. So we were in Vermont for a while. We were in Minnesota for a while. And so when she said, hey, come to Albania, I said, all right. And I got here and quickly realized the same thing she did, which is there's something really special happening here at this point in time. And in particular with the love and support of the arts and the vision of the arts as being a legitimate career path in an industry, that alone is something you don't find everywhere, especially everywhere in America. It's usually go get a real job or be an artist. You don't find many places that say you can have a real life being an artist. So that connected with me right away, and I said, all right, I'm going to throw both feet in the deep end here, and we're going to see where this thing goes. So we started holding wine nights and just inviting local filmmakers to come, and I just learned the status of the industry, the status of where things are at economically, what people want, what are they missing. I mean, we went through months and months of conversations with hundreds of people, finding out where are they at with their lives and their careers, what do they want, and almost to a person, everybody said, we want to be successful in our career, but we want to be doing it here. They said, but the industry needs molding. It's kind of just a little bit of this and a little bit of that right now. And to me, that was challenge accepted. Game on, let's go. Yeah. And we've been working ever since.
And when you came in the beginning and you spent these 2 months, what happened these 2 months that made you kind of curious of what's going on?
Nothing in particular. Really nothing in particular.
You stayed in Tirana or you moved the
country? In Tirana, in Bloku. Partially it was that I met Lidyan Kula, who is a lovely human being and is in our industry. And so I got some bits and pieces of who is Albania, starting with Lidyan. Lidyan was my first who is Albania, aside from people that I had met in New York. I grew up in New York City. But it really, it had to do with the energy. I'm sorry, I wish I could make it a concrete thing, but it wasn't. It was like the zeitgeist.
You moved out of Tirana or just
Tirana? I mean, I went to Doris and I did some day trips, but it was Tirana. It was people I passed in the street. It was the woman who gave me my burek for breakfast. It was the gentleman at the fruit stand. It was getting lost in the street and asking for directions. That was a lot of it. And then it was also starting to hear, because my focus is story. And I think that story is what can help change the world. It's when we share, and it's also when I get to hear how somebody else solved a problem that my brain starts to go, oh, and I think I'm a regular person. So, and the stories I started to hear that were Albanian fairy tales, folk tales, whatever, I hadn't heard them, and I've been around for quite a while and seen films and read books from a lot of different cultures, and it was like, there are stories here that the world needs. Like seriously needs, like it could help. And there are points of view. And
you did write during that 2 months, or?
Yeah, I have a project that I turned into my manager 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think, and then there were fires, so we're on hold. But I have 3 projects in the works.
About Albania, or?
One of them is about Albania, so I've started to write and research that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then hopefully that one I'll be able to turn it into. We're hoping that we can turn it into a series, and if that's true, then we can use Albanian writers to read the various episodes and Albanian directors, et cetera, but it's based in Albania and it's all Albanian actors, et cetera. So we'll
Great.
see.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And when you came in November, you stayed for 2 weeks, and
I was here for about a month, but yeah.
Yeah, but and then you made your mind that this was the place.
That was it. Yeah, I went home for the Christmas break, and then said to my family, "Hey, I'm going back to Albania." And my dad was like, "What are you doing now?" Came back in January last year, and just got to work. So we started the kids classes, we started the writing classes, we started acting classes, started them in the living room. I mean, we didn't have an office, we didn't have a place. We just invited some people over and we just started learning, what we know from our industry experience, what gaps can we fill, what do they already know? It was a two-way street. They were teaching us, we were teaching them. So it all started very organically. We started holding like cocktail parties for artists every few weeks at the place, and the community just started to grow and grow and grow. And then it was the spring of last year, that was the first major step, was when I met Chica over at Watt, and we talked about doing a youth program for the after-school program for the kids there. So that started in the fall last year. Yeah. And there was just so many things going on. But in the meantime, in the back of our minds, it was always, well, if we can find some solid footing here and get some institutional level, partners and support, like what's ended up happening, there's a real legitimate moment in our industry right now to bring a lot of people and also grow a lot of people organically that are here. It's just a special place at a special time, and our industry is going through such a change macroeconomically. The decentralization of technology, putting cameras in everybody's hands. Just because people have cameras in their hands now, they think they know how to tell the story. It's not true, and they're finding out after they try their 5th podcast or their 5th YouTube video. They're like, nobody's watching it. What's wrong? Or, it doesn't look right. Or why doesn't my YouTube series look like Mindhunter? Or all these things. And it's like, well, because there's an entire professional process behind making the things that you click through at night. But my heart has just been all in on this notion of having a home base for storytelling artists worldwide. Having a place that just stands up and says, we want you here, vaults Albania to the top of the list, because you go to London or New York or LA and any of these other places, and it's put their foot on your neck because you're an artist. Oh yeah, go work at the restaurant, but while you're trying to be famous as an actor, right? Oh, that whole charade. So just your home here. I mean, not to get too personal, but even, who I am, I went through a kind of emotional, physical change over the last year or so being here. I got to reconnect with myself. I had been kind of lost in the wilderness of what I was doing with my life, and the organization was going fine, but being back here gave me that time and energy to just kind of go, all right, this is back to the kind of the origin of why I was in the industry from the start.
And now somehow you have knowledge about the environment in terms of your own environment. I mean, the creators, the filmmakers, the scriptwriters, the young, the less young, and so on. What's your perception of that?
This place is a hotbed of talent, just waiting. It's raw talent waiting for an industry to light it on fire. Like, it's a rocket ready to go. It's on the launch pad.
May I?
Yeah.
It's also, in my experience of talking to people, the limitations that are placed on the ability to tell story based on the way the European system of funding works, makes it difficult. Because there is no way that a single government or the entire EU together can put together the amount of money to support the number of storytellers who are out there. It's just, I mean, it's the reason there's so many studios worldwide. Which means that private funding or funding from a business is the world. HBO, for example. Getting them to come to Albania and read scripts by Albanians and look at footage that Albanian directors have shot requires trust, in the same way that an Albanian filmmaker coming to an American and saying, I'll listen to you tell me something, requires trust. And that's time, you know. So we're grateful to be here.
Yeah, very excited.
And so let's come to the new chapter, let's say, that I somehow found myself in without even having an idea of your existence.
Yeah.
So I receive a call and I'm told that there are these two Americans that are, you know, very much willing to push forward a new agenda for the Albanian young talents, but also for them who are in the field and need support. And then we meet together.
Yep.
Pamela was not in town, and you explained me, and then I realized that for the time being the basic need was a place.
Right.
And it happens that we are exactly in the moment in time when we have finished the works to restore an old facility where the sound studio of the Kino studio was, plus some other spaces, and in our imagination and also ambition was to transform that part in a residence for young artists and to give them the possibility of space, and mostly, or let's say basically people from the film industry from A to Z, meaning all kind of things that you have in the parts of the long chain of film production.
Yeah.
And so I tell you, let me check, because in my understanding might be this crazy coincidence. And they were already preparing to launch the calls for the residents, and so the stars match, and you get it. Which, as Philip said, this can happen only in Albania.
The list of Albanian serendipity miracles we have had in the last year is extraordinary.
Yeah, it's
That's
amazing.
just one of the things that...
It's why we keep saying to each other, we're in the right place.
So, no, I believe that there is no coincidence at the end. So things are meant to happen, and maybe this coincidence is the thing that was meant to happen to kind of bring the process you have started with your fantasy in the real life, and create content in terms of human resources first and foremost. So now you have the spaces and you have started, but you are preparing for a new season, right, of people coming and engaging and so on. So this is a good platform to talk a bit about it and to tell to young or not so young, but I think, more the time passes, more I'm being very careful to add the not so young to the young. So please feel free to explain.
Yeah, so the Toronto Training Center is our home base for, like you said, learning everything in the entire process of making a professional movie or TV show.
Yeah, in the way that Americans make it.
Yeah, it's in the American
people
style.
Here
Yep.
know how to make it. So,
yeah,
we need to caveat that. We are 100% aware that there are top-level professionals already in Albania. We have met them. So this is...
Yeah, so the school is for...
I'll come back to this in the way only the Americans know, because I have to tease you about that. But let him explain first.
You walked into that one yourself.
Let him explain first about the center.
Oh, dear.
But, it's, as you say, all ages, ages 7 to any, and any experience level. It doesn't just cover acting, writing, producing, and directing, which is what most people think about when they think of film and TV. It's not just the creatives. We're doing all the crew training. There's over 180 different types of crew jobs. So if you're a hairstylist, if you're a carpenter, an electrician, if you're a plumber, a truck driver, a caterer, a cook, any job that goes into making something that you would see on a set, there's going to be training for that, because all of those expertise if you're already a hairstylist, we're not going to train people how to be hairstylists. We're going to train them the specialty skills of how to be a hairstylist on a TV and film set. Same thing with makeup, costumes, all of it. And then there's all the creative stuff, acting, writing, directing, cinematography, producing. But then the other thing that makes it a little different than any other film school I'm aware of is not only are we bringing those two together, called above the line and below the line, but my business background, I started in the industry at HBO. So I worked on 6 Feet Under, Sex and the City, Sopranos, Curb Your Enthusiasm. I was one of the business affairs analysts at HBO in the early 2000s. And that gave me the knowledge of how to do the business side of it. So one of the things I'm most interested in, and the thing that is going to be required if Albania is going to be a long-term hub of this industry, is working with the current business and finance professionals in the country, how to not just, maybe they're real estate investors right now, how do you invest in intellectual property? How do you invest in intangible assets? Why would you invest in movies and TV? What's the business model of that? Where's the money? Where's the return on that? How does the actual finance flow of building that industry happen? That is what makes Hollywood, is that it was the place that started investing privately in the industry, 100 years ago. That is something I'm most curious in meeting, because again, kind of going back to the social thing we talked about at the opening, there's this separation in a lot of people's minds between art and business, and art and career. In our industry, it is hundreds of billions of dollars a year that is spent producing the stuff that we watch. That is a big business. So we need to have a training center where all of these things are happening at the same time, because we want people meeting in the hallways of the center who otherwise wouldn't connect, because one would be at a Chamber of Commerce meeting and the other one would be at an art class, right? We want to bring these worlds together in one place. And not just Albanians. We've got a list now of dozens of American professionals that are ready to come over. You talk about this endless list of Albanian miracles and serendipity that's happened to bring us here. One of the things that's happening in our industry right now is the contraction in bigger projects from last year for financial reasons, the disasters that have happened in Los Angeles, whatever it is. There are a lot of people right now schedules are very open to being here, where otherwise we would be pulling teeth right now to try to get people to come out anywhere. I couldn't get people to go to Minnesota in March 2 years ago because the industry was producing so many TV shows and films. Everybody was too busy. There's this gap right now, and we're just capturing attention, which is why, as I'm sure you picked up the first time we met, there's this energy to me, to this project right now. We've got a moment in time here, and I don't want to see that door close just because we're doing things at a normal pace. Things take time.
So let's go to Pamela.
Yeah.
Pamela.
And, I'm calling you that from now on.
Pamela.
Okay, I'll take it.
Let me kind of uncover this why this need to underline the American way. You think Europe cannot offer much in terms of production? You have a discriminatory position towards the European way to produce, or you have some, maybe back in your mind, some imperialistic drive to occupy the space and say, this is the American way, be Americans.
Wow, I did walk into
fight for the American way.
No.
You're on your own on this one.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
You're a big help. No, I guess what I mean by that is that there are cultural differences right down to the language that is used. And it's not just a difference between, let's say, English and French and Spanish. There is a different pacing that occurs. There's a different drive. No less ambitious, no more ambitious, no less creative, no more creative. But it requires a dictionary of sorts to allow people to talk to each other. And that means that there are Americans who will want to come here who will need to learn how Albania does things. And Albania will need to learn how Americans do things so that there are no misunderstandings. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the actual vocabulary.
You soften your stance a lot.
Oh, God. Can I leave now?
And to jokes aside, to take it from here, because I'm sure that many people that are following, they need to know what's in it for them, in a sense. Okay, but because when you don't know much about the upsides and the downsides of this kind of activities, you feel like, okay, this is about a group of people. It's about something, for the elite. It's about, and at the end, okay, in America, it's also business, but what the hell in Albania? So it's important to try and explain that in case this works, what will bring to them, what will bring to Albania.
Yeah.
May I start?
Go for it.
I work in a laundry, and I know how to. That's what my job. I work in laundry. The film industry needs to wash clothing. I'm going to try to find one place that I can work with. I'm going to come to your business. I'm going to say, I need to have laundry. It needs to be done by tomorrow morning so that I have it. And I'm going to need it for 6 months. How much will it cost me to hire you and 5 other people to do that? I am shooting on a film on a street somewhere, and I want to use your bodega, your fruit stand, as a set. So I'm going to want to buy all of your fruit because you won't be able to sell it. Will you be in the background as well, since it's your fruit stand? And while we're shooting, we move down the street and all of the crew is hungry, so they come back and buy your fruit. You're a cab driver. I need somebody to drive the actor around for the next 3 weeks. Can I hire you in your cab? So, am I doing this the right way?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's a chain
It's a chain, and it literally...
of
yeah.
services, jobs.
Exactly. The film industry touches every single thing we do. If I build a film set and it's supposed to be a bathroom, I need it plumbed so that I can run water through it. If it's a kitchen, I need electricity. I need it built. I need carpenters. If I need a stone wall, I need masons. If I need a truck, I need a It is across the board.
This is within borders of the set, let's say.
No.
But there is also the other impact outside the borders of the set. So
Right.
once the film goes out and people say, wow, where is this place, right?
Exactly.
And we have seen how much the film industry has impacted the economy of countries, starting from Ireland and till Croatia. That's just because of the Game of Thrones, so many people wanted to visit and so on. So tourism is another, right?
Film tourism is one of the most powerful economic and not just economic, and everything you're talking about is the economic impacts, but there's also a pride, right? It's a pride level. It's planting your flag on the global scale and saying, look at us on screen, we're here. There's a power in seeing a place on screen that makes you want to visit it or think about it, or it could be as small as just taking your next vacation there. It could be moving there. There's a notoriety that comes around with it as well.
And to go to the third and last chapter of the conversation, I would like to ask you, beyond what you already confessed, but I would like you to confess 3 things you don't like about Albania.
Okay.
Or Albanians, whatever.
You want to go first? I've got my 3.
Or Americans in Albania,
You
whatever
go
you
first.
want.
Oh, yeah.
You go first.
Okay. Number 1, everybody's got to learn how to walk on the sidewalks. Everybody's walking into each other, driving motor scooters coming up you walking out of the food store, you almost get run over. People crashing into each other, walking down the street, turning around, stopping in the middle, having a conversation while you can't get by. I mean,
but you think
I'm from Boston. That's driving me nuts.
But you think that if this would be like you want, she will feel something is happening? I don't think so.
I don't think so. No, this is
I love the anarchy.
This is the confession. She calls it anarchy.
It makes me so happy. But I come from New York City.
Okay, number 2.
Number 2, God, what would number 2 be? Trains. Trains. I want to explore more of the country faster. I want to get around the city faster sometimes. I want to explore more.
Soon we'll have the first railway and the first train from Tirana to Durrës.
Yeah.
Third point.
Okay. I grew up in Boston where you are by nature social, outgoing. And I do feel like one of my more personal challenges in Albania has been my more gregarious, outgoing side sometimes doesn't fit in very well, whether it's at a restaurant, at a bar at night. I'm just used to places where when you go out, the point of going out is to meet other people and talk with them, not to sit in a group and, not talk with other people. That's just a cultural difference. And that's even a cultural difference within America. There are parts of America where people like me are considered annoying. It's not just an Albanian thing.
Do you consider him annoying? Or?
No, but I consider him like my brother.
So he can
brothers are annoying.
He can be annoying, but he's a brother. And what about your three things that you would like to fix, that you would like to be different about Albania or Albanians?
It's hard because
Okay, say then.
I know, I'm terrible. I'm sorry. I like the country very much. It's very sad.
Okay, but what you would say then, without, of course, lecturing, because every experience is different, but what you would say to those Albanians who say foreigners here find it easy, find everything easy, but here is unlivable, here is impossible, here is just nonsense to lose your time?
I understand that people feel like that they aren't making enough money, but that is true all over the world. In the United States, most people are making what looks like a lot of money, and they can hardly pay their rent because of the cost of living.
Exactly.
So this is not a if I move someplace else it will be better necessarily at all whatsoever. The climate here, I love the buses. The buses here are great.
You take the bus?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You take the bus, and
Yes.
you like
Yes.
it.
I take the bus. I like it very, very much.
Why they are great?
They are clean. They're well run. They're well designed in order to carry large numbers of people without it being a claw. I mean, I grew up in a city that was all about public transportation. There's the underground. There's the the buses, et cetera, and that is a move forward. The highways here are a move forward. There's so much that works that the pieces that don't work, you can see that, oh, that's going to get fixed. It's not like, oh, that's never going to get fixed. I guess that's part of
that.
Right?
I think that's the underlying thing that we've talked about almost every day.
Yeah.
Is I've lived a lot of places. I've lived a lot of places around America. The amount of opportunity available in Albania right now is greater than in some parts of the United States to do things.
Absolutely.
Opportunity in Albania right now is what has me excited every day. You feel like you're part of a community. You feel like you're part of building something. You feel like you're building something with people that are excited to be here, but also have this extraordinarily historic history behind it that America doesn't. And I think that underlies everything, is that there's the potential of, like, sure, like, I think to your question, there are people who are going to be like, well, why there? Or what are you doing there? Or whatever. What about this? What about that? Isn't this missing? Isn't that missing? And it's like, all right, sure, so something's missing right now, but everything else is
Something
great.
is missing everywhere.
Yeah.
Everything has a positive.
This is
and
the
a
greenest
negative.
grass I've found on any side of a fence yet.
Yeah.
So.
And the very last, if someone wants to come, where should come, and how should find you?
For the training center, yeah. It's Catalyst Story Institute. You can just Google that up. Everybody is welcome to join and come on in and give it a try. So Catalyst Story Institute. And follow us on Instagram, Catalyst Stories Albania. But
So it's like this, Catalyst
Story Institute. And that's it. Yep.
So whomever is curious or want to pass by or want to see if he can
Come on in.
or she can come in, has to follow you through
Start there. Just
Catalyst Story Institute.
show up at our door.
And you are reachable in any phone line, in any email?
Email, Instagram,
And you
online.
answer emails, or
Yep.
sometimes?
We do.
Great.
So just want to say thank you. It's been quite the journey.
No,
We're
it's,
excited about what's next.
It's still very early to thank, because we have to see where we'll go and how much worth it will be to help you. We don't know.
There's a thing I learned working with David Fincher, and that is take each win.
Yeah, of course.
And for me, sitting here in this room with you is a win. So.
Well, and you
Yeah,
come
it's,
from. She's being a little modest. She comes from a Hollywood family and a New York history, and having her here is it's like having a piece of an old institution just
Yeah, but I understood why it's a win for her to have me here, because I look like coming out from a film and playing the prime minister making a podcast, because
the casting
would be difficult to be invented, right?
Yeah, that's
perfect.
Right. Perfect casting, yeah.
Very good. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure, and I hope it was same for them who follow. And I turn in Albanian now. I'm sorry. You have to learn some Albanian.
I'm
for the
practicing.
God's sake.
We're taking.
You have to learn some Albanian.
Po.
Sa, po, yes. Mësoni pak shqip. Pak. It's not easy, but it will make your American English more energetic.
Okay.
Pamela dhe Filipi, dy themelusit e qendrës së trajnimit për të gjithë ata që dëshirojnë të hynë në botën e kinemas, po jo thjesht për regjisor, operator apo skenarist, po për të gjithë zinxhirin e profesioneve, që nga hidraulikët që do të shërbenin në rastin që do të ishin në shërbim një prodhimi filmik, deri tek elektricistët, tek parukierët e kështu me radhë. Dhe në Catalyst Story Institute në Instagram mund gjeni pastaj rrugën për të shkuar, janë te Kino Studio në një mjedis absolutisht fantastik, edhe në një atmosferë që është, siç e tha Pamela, vetëm amerikane, nuk ka asgjë tjetër. American way. You like it or not, this is it.